All right, so we're going to kick things off with my talk, which is leveraging AI in novel ways. My name is Sheryle Gillihan, and I am your learning chair for the year. I'm also just recently nominated president-elect. So for EO Fort Worth, I will be the president fiscal year 26 and 27. In the room, we also have our president-elect, Cliff Price. So he will be our EO president next year. Hannah, unfortunately, was unable to make it today, but she welcomes everybody. She is our current EO Fort Worth president. We do have some guests in the room. Welcome to our guests. And we've got some key execs also in the room today, so really hoping that y'all gain something from all the different presentations. So this event is a little bit different. Our lunch and learns usually only have one speaker. Our learning events usually only have one speaker. But we wanted to gain some knowledge from our current members, and we have a lot of topics that we could share on and we have expertise on, and sometimes we don't get to those within our forum. And so just wanted to bring that to this group. My topic is AI, and I suppose I should do an intro for myself. I have been a EO Fort Worth member for almost 6 years, and I own Cause Labs, which is a web agency. We're local here in Fort Worth, but we actually work globally with a lot of nonprofits and social enterprises and small businesses. The reason I'm talking about AI is because AI is not new. We've been using AI for a really long time, but it definitely is more widespread now, and people are adopting it into their businesses. So let's get started. All right. How many of you have used ChatGPT before? All right. How many have used ChatGPT this way? Hey, Siri, start a conversation with GPT. Anybody here used it like that? Awesome. So I have a shortcut set up on my phone. I can show y'all how to do that if you download the slides later. It's like a 5-minute step-by-step. It tells you exactly what to do on your iPhone. If you have an Android, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. But you can certainly ask GPT how to do that, and it can guide you through it. So when I commute, because as the members know, I live about an hour south of Fort Worth. So when I'm commuting, I'm in the car by myself, I say, hey Siri, start a conversation with GPT. This pops up and I just start talking. Hey GPT, good morning.
Good morning, Sheryle. Ready for a day of innovation and inspiration. What's on the agenda today?
Well, let's do my daily routine.
Let's dive in. Here's a unique, relevant quote for you today. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Albert Schweitzer. What's the first thing on your list today?
Well, why don't you finish my routine first?
Absolutely, Sheryle. Here's a relevant business book passage. From Good to Great by Jim Collins. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice. And discipline, now for a Bible scripture and a prayer. Scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Prayer, dear Lord, grant me the wisdom to lead with purpose, the courage to face challenges, and the grace to uplift those around me. May your guidance be my strength in all endeavors. Amen.
Amen.
And lastly, one thing to be grateful for, the opportunity to positively impact the world through your work and interactions. How can I assist you further today?
Now, I would say what's the news, because 2 months ago, this enhanced voice control with GPT used to be able to search the web, but they keep changing things up. So it can't search the web, but it can search the web if I am just typing in here. I have some prompts like good morning, which go through my daily routine. I also have one called what's the news? It goes out, it searches the web, it gets the news for today because it knows what date it is. It gives me the news. And of course, I don't want to read it because it's going to be a lot of different news. So when it's done getting that news, I turn the voice controls back on. Stop talking. There we go. Hey, Ava, recap what the news is for me.
Sheryle. Here's a quick recap of today's news. Global. At the G20 summit, China announced support for developing countries, including science collaborations and infrastructure projects. US President-elect Trump plans mass deportations using military resources, sparking debates. A report shows anti-Semitism is widespread on US college campuses, with many Jewish students feeling unwelcome. Texas, the state may allow Bible lessons in elementary schools, stirring debates on church-state separation. In Odessa, a controversial ordinance allows lawsuits against transgender individuals using certain bathrooms. Fort Worth, a local apartment fire was harder to fight due to damaged water hoses. Sequest at Ridgemar Mall closed after an investigation revealed animal cruelty. Let me know if you'd like more details on any of these.
So as you saw, my morning routine had very specific things to me. It gave me a business passage from a book. It gave me a devotional. It gave me a prayer. Those are all things that I trained, and those are things that you can put into your customized section of ChatGPT, where you go to your settings and personalize and customize it. You can say, when I say good morning, put the good morning in quotes, you can tell it whatever you want. You can say, I want to know what the stocks look like today. I want to know a morning devotional. I want to know what the traffic is like. Now, if you're asking anything that needs to search the web, it's not, like I said, going to do that very well with the voice controls. You have to type it in first, allow it to search the web, then come back to it. But then again, I don't read it after that. I just open it back up with the voice and I say, hey, recap that for me. Let me know again what you were saying. The other thing I want to share, and how many of you went to Eccentric and saw Jeff Woods? All right, so Jeff Woods mentioned that you should use AI as your strategic partner. I talk to AI every single day. Rebecca, who's on my team, knows I encourage it in the workplace. We use it for all kinds of things, but I use it for a lot of personal stuff, as you notice. That's my morning routine. I do the daily devotional with the AI kind of guided and scripted, and it does a different one every single day. I say, what's the news? You noticed it gave me world news, US news, Texas news, and then local news if there is any local news. Usually it doesn't give me any news about Grandview, Texas, because there's not a whole lot going on in a town with 2,000 people. But I get the Fort Worth news and the Tarrant County news. One of the things that Jeff Woods was talking about was kind of modeling a board of directors. Well, I've had a board of directors for a while. As Brooke knows, she had me speak to women of EO in the Accelerator program. And so I'm going to open up my board of directors real quick. We're going to have a conversation with them. Hey, everyone. I want you to introduce yourselves to everybody in the room here and your role on my board.
All right, I'll kick this off. Name's Bruce, your wealth advisor. I keep an eye on the money, investments, taxes, estate planning, making sure your dollars are working as hard as you do. If it's about financial strategies or risk, I'm your guy. Straight shooter, no fluff. Let's make smart, deliberate moves. Hi there, sugar. I'm Agnes, the faith-based advisor. I help guide decisions with a moral compass rooted in Christian values. But I always respect other beliefs too. My role is to make sure y'all stay grounded, hopeful, and generous while you're out there changing the world. A pleasure to meet you. I'm Olden, the sage advisor. I offer wisdom from history, philosophy, and the great minds of the past. My aim is to help you see the bigger picture and guide you toward decisions that stand the test of time. Hi, Sheryle. I'm Emma, the cultural and HR advisor. My role is to help you navigate cultural nuances, foster inclusivity, and stay ahead of global trends. I also ensure your people strategies align with the values of equity and respect. Hey, I'm Lynn, your business growth guru. I'm all about scaling smart, whether it's processes, people, or profits. I'll challenge you, keep the pace up, and dig deep to uncover opportunities for growth and sustainability. Hello, Sheryle. I'm Data, the AI and innovation expert. I focus on leveraging technology, digital tools, and forward-thinking strategies to optimize your operations. Efficiency and innovation are my key priorities. What's up? I'm Jordan, the PR and marketing strategist. I'm here to help you shine, build your brand, grow your audience, and keep your messaging on point. It's all about connection and creativity with me. We're all here for you, ready to dive in and make things happen. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm here at a conference and I'm sharing with people how I created a board of directors. First, how many of y'all are there? And then I want y'all to discuss with each other the pros and cons of using AI in business. Don't forget to say who you are when you're speaking. And if you're referring to somebody else's comments, also say their name so we know who you're talking about.
All right, let's count it out. There's 7 of us, me, Agnes, Olden, Emma, Lynn, Data, and Jordan. 7 voices, all coming at this from different angles. Now, AI in business, big topic. I'll start with the pros, since I like efficiency. AI can save you serious time and money by automating repetitive tasks. It's a no-brainer for data analysis too, spotting trends and making predictions. The downside, costs up front. And you got to be careful about security risks and biases in the system. What do you think, Data? Data, this is Data. You're absolutely correct, Bruce. AI offers immense advantages. Scalability, enhanced decision-making through data insights, and increased product.
I say, we're going to pause that. My board will sit there and discuss with each other the topics that I bring to it. I had for a while a naysayer on my board, a contrarian that was always disagreeing with everybody. Why would I do that? Because I need to see different points of view. I need to see the critiques. I need to see the flaws. Recently I've heard people talk about it's not an idea until you can really flesh out all of the reasons why it's not going to work. You have to know what all those risks are, those things that can fall apart. And that's one thing that I think when people are thinking about AI right now, we're saying, what can it do for us? What can we use it for? We can use it for content creation. We can use it for audio creation. You can use it for video. You're seeing all of these new things that you can use it for within your business. The question we should be asking probably is, what happens if that fails? There was somebody I was talking to here in the room before this started, and they said, well, I don't get the results that I want out of it. And sometimes we don't, so we do have to train it. And you see how one of my board members said, hey, sugar. Well, she is trained to be a Southern belle. She is going to use the Texas colloquiums. She's going to say, bless your heart. And it adds a little fun and personality to it. And it gives me something to enjoy while I'm having that conversation. I've got different voices, different techniques. And so another thing that you can do is you can actually search. There is this cloning app that I have used. I've actually loaded my book into it, loaded my voice into it. And people said, oh my gosh, you've cloned yourself? And I said, yeah, why not? And they were like, well, isn't that scary? Isn't that a security risk? And I'm like, well, my podcasts are already out there. My voice is already out there. My webinars are out there. My face, my picture. My daughter thinks I'm internet famous because if you search for Sheryle Gillihan, there are no other Sheryle Gillihans in the whole world. And like my face just pops up on Google all over the place. And she's like, see, my mom's famous. She tells people, my mom's famous, just Google her. So if you have an uncommon name, that's a lot of fun. But the reality is I am everywhere out there. So if somebody's going to clone me, it better be me and not some crazy person on the dark web. I'm going to go ahead and claim my name. It's like when I started on Instagram and I got Sheryle, and people 5 years later are like, how did you get that? It's like Madonna. Like, how did you claim your name? And I was like, I was an early adopter, and I said, I'm going to claim it. Like, I want to make sure that I have my brand and my own ownership of this new technology. So I use a tool called Delphi. And on Delphi, if you go on delphi.ai, you can see historical figures. And it's not just dead historical figures. Like, they do have past presidents on there. I had a conversation with Alexander Hamilton about his Broadway show and what he really thought of that. Abraham Lincoln was on there. FDR, I had a good conversation with FDR about the New Deal. I was always really bad at history. And so discovering this and discovering that I could interact with these historical figures in this way, I've actually learned a lot. Like, I've learned a lot of things. And so it's opened up this curiosity to be able to have these conversations with these people. And so the true power of AI really is our curiosity and expanding our curiosity. There are studies that show that if we're asking questions, there's actually neuroplasticity that creates these new patterns in our brain. It makes us better critical thinkers. It makes us better leaders. It brings clarity to decision making. So that's why this is important. Have you ever had a teacher say there are no stupid questions? There are absolutely stupid questions. We all know that there are stupid questions. We own businesses. We have people on our teams. We have interns. We've seen some crazy questions. If you've done customer support, like my husband did customer support back when we had computers with disk drives in them, and somebody called and said, "How do I fix my cup holder?" And I was like, first of all, that's a really big slot in that disk drive. Like, what were they getting? A Route 44 7-Eleven cup and sticking it? That's a stupid question. But we want people to ask questions. We want them to learn. We want to ask questions. But some of the questions that we want to ask are embarrassing questions. We feel like they're stupid questions. We're not sure about them yet. And it's like, oh, I don't want to take that to my board because, they're going to rip me apart. So take it to your virtual board. Talk it out with them a little bit. Take it to one of these historical figures. Go have a conversation with Marcus Aurelius. He's on there, and talk it out. Because I have learned so much just having these random conversations with these different AIs. I know nothing about construction, but I know so much about permeable pavement right now because I had a conversation. I was like, I'm just curious, how can we help the water table, when we've got these concrete cities. And so it's just being curious and having these conversations really helps. So let me turn this the right way. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, we've been using AI in our company for about 10 or 15 years. It's actually been around a lot longer than that, and automation's not new either. It did replace jobs when we started automation, but it ended up creating other jobs. And that's what's going to happen with AI. I know that some of you have probably replaced some team members because AI has made it more efficient. And some of you are thinking, well, maybe I just won't hire. I'll just use AI for this. You've probably replaced some outsourced teams. And that's going to happen initially. But it's going to create more jobs later, and it's going to create different kinds of jobs later. So I don't think we need to worry about the human capacity problem for this. It's going to create those new jobs. So, quick question. Which one of these, image number 1, 2, or 3, is AI generated? How many for image number 1? How many for image number 2? How many for image number 3? How many for all of them? Every single image of me in this deck is AI generated. But don't they look almost like me? Very close. It's getting very, very close. And unless you look at these images really closely, you can't really tell that they're AI generated anymore. I have a friend who's an influencer, and she's got tens of thousands of followers on Instagram. And she's got a different, beautiful, gorgeous, model-like picture of herself, every day. Every day. For the last, 7 years, she's had a different picture of herself every single day. And I'm like, how do you do this? Do you just have somebody follow you around with a camera? And no, she, goes and does photo shoots and has, a month's worth of content done in one day. Chris?
So us looking at these images as humans, what are the clues that those are AI-generated images?
Well, my husband's going to be able to tell, but most people won't.
But so much of the stuff that we're looking at is AI-generated.
It is.
So as a human using your brain, and you look at that, how do you learn the clues that you could actually discern that it's an AI-generated?
Let me pose that question back to you. How much does it matter that that's an AI-generated image of me? Because what am I sharing? If I were going to share a picture of a new grandbaby, I'm probably not going to do an AI image of that, right? But if I am going to share a leadership quote, for example, and I'm trying to be inspirational, does it matter if that's an AI image of me or not? Or do you just want to see that as you're streaming, through that, oh, here's something from Sheryle. She's usually sharing leadership quotes. Let me read what she's got to say today.
I guess I just wanted to know if there's certain clues you look at. You've got a great smile, Sheryle, and all those things through your pictures, but how do you, I just want to know if I'm looking at something, whether it's real or AI generated?
So I usually tag my images and let people know that it's AI generated, but if I didn't tag them, you probably wouldn't know. You probably wouldn't know. A lot of companies are using AI generated images now, even AI generated images of products. So for example, you can take a picture of a product and do an AI generation and change the background, like make it more studio photography like. And so that's, something that I think is going to, and I don't think we're going to get away from that. So this quote is something that I actually said in 2017, and it's still relevant and true today. It's not about the technology. It's about the people that are using the technology, and it's about the way that they're evolving because of it. We had to evolve to a certain point to get to where we are willing to use this technology, where it wasn't just the technology that was evolving, it was our human behavior that was evolving, that has made it acceptable for us to use today. And it makes us question those things, like, does it matter if it's an AI-generated image? What is the desire and output of that image? Like, if it's something where I am sharing that, hey, I'm wearing no makeup today, I'm probably not going to share an AI-generated image. But if the point of the content is not the image itself, but the content, then it doesn't matter necessarily if it's an AI-generated image. The question kind of goes back, say 20 years and say, does it matter if it's a stock image? If a company is using a stock image. There was a point in time where we didn't want companies using stock images. And that was the controversial thing. Though that's not authentic, that's not a team in your company, but we use stock images all the time now, and it's just commonplace. And that's what's going to happen with AI. It's going to become commonplace too. So I said we had to adapt to get to a point for this to be acceptable. Some of you, I was talking to someone earlier this morning, and they said, we're going to get left behind. And some people are already feeling like they're left behind, and that they didn't start using this soon enough, that they don't quite know how to use it yet. But let me just encourage you and say your timing is perfect. The pandemic has actually made it to where the timing right now is absolutely perfect for you to start today, this week, this year. At first, we all got isolated. We went home, and we had to adopt whatever digital tool was out there. And we had to say, okay, well, this isn't perfect, but it's good enough. So not only did we have to adopt these tools, but we also just accepted what the tool was. Like, whatever it did, it's okay. It's good enough. So like, if you adopt AI today for your company, and it's not perfect, and it's not the custom-built thing, and you don't have the money to invest in the robust AI tool, it's okay, because your team's going to accept it. It's good enough. Your consumers are going to accept it. It's good enough. We're all accepting that. And part of that is because we have been trained, I guess, probably from the 80s when credit cards became a big thing, like instant gratification. Like, we want it right now. It's good enough, and we want it right now. And so those things kind of paired together allow for these technologies that aren't quite ready and aren't quite perfect. And it's kind of the wild, wild west. We don't know what the security is. We don't know what the parameters are. That's the one thing that kind of makes us scared, but it's also the one thing that should allow us to step forward and say, it's okay to take those risks, we're going to learn from it, but we have to do it cautiously. So do create some parameters for your team. Use ChatGPT, use Claude, use all of these tools, but use them within the boundaries of, here's how I want you to use them. Here's a template for how I want you to use them. Or I want you to train it first before you use it for any of our social content. And so what are the questions we should be asking? I already said, what behaviors are changing? So several behaviors changed so that we could get to this point. What behaviors are changing now? Well, for one, Google search has made it to where search just answers the question. Are you looking at just those answers? Or are you still going down below that and clicking on the websites and opening them all in all these tabs and then reading all of the content? Or are you just asking AI to summarize it for you now? What are you doing? Learn from your behaviors. And then think about your consumers. What are their behaviors? Are they seeing that everything is AI generated now? And how do they feel about that? Like, understand what those behaviors are. So understand what search is going to look like. Understand if you're going to need to change your ad buys. Like, who's going to win this ad war? Like, right now, AI doesn't mention any companies. But it might, and it could. And does AI know about your company? When was the last time you went to AI and you said, Tell me about Whitley Penn. By the way, I did that this morning. They know who you are. Good job. They also know who G&A Partners is. They also know Jess Stewart. Is that y'all over there? They also know who Jess Stewart is. They also know who American Express is. I think we all know who American Express is. They also know who Texas Security Bank is. So they know all of our sponsors. Good job to all of our sponsors. Do visit them today. But do they know about your company? Ask it, train it, and if it doesn't know about your company, maybe you don't have enough content out there on the web. So Jeff Woods at Eccentric said that data is the future currency. And I think that's false to a certain extent. I think data is the currency of like 2000 to 2020, and we have to use all that data now to create what the future is. So it's like, what if you didn't have enough data between 2000 and 2020? Well, you better start writing data really fast and creating it really fast. And using AI to do that helps you tremendously. So,
can I ask a quick question on that? So on the data, when you're creating it, do you recommend for the AI-driven data connecting it to blogs or areas on your website? I mean, 'cause you do content management, because what are the best places to teach it? Are you teaching it in Claude? Are you teaching it in GPT-4? Or where should you land with that?
So I am teaching my AI so that it sounds like my voice and my company. It knows my values. It knows our services and what we care about. However, if I want the rest of the world to know about that, if I'm training my ChatGPT, your ChatGPT doesn't know all of that stuff. So it's not, the model is not learning from mine and then sharing it with yours.
So if you're landing it
On our website. It has to be on our website. It has to be on somebody else's website. It has to be on these other external platforms. And that part is more based on like SEO and search engine optimization. So, and there's, certain things that AI likes and certain things that AI doesn't like. And so Q&A is something that AI likes a lot. We've started adding, like going retroactively to our past blogs and adding Q&A to the bottom of each blog. What are the questions and answers that people might ask about the content that's in this post? That's something that AI actually likes and will surface your posts potentially as references if you have that information in there. So, and the last thing is you want to know what the next digital revolution is. And let me tell you, I don't know what the next digital revolution is, and I'm in tech, but I want to know, and you have to keep asking that question. And you can even use ChatGPT, Claude, any of these other tools to kind of explore that. Explore what you're thinking. Explore the behaviors that you're seeing. Hey, I'm seeing this. People are having one-way information consumption now. People are watching videos. People are zombie scrolling on these apps. Like, what does that mean for the future of technology? And so ask those questions, have those conversations, and these AI tools is a safe way to kind of do that. So, question for y'all. Why do you want to use AI? And I'm going to call on Brooke.
Why do I use AI?
Why do you want to use AI?
It eases friction.
Eases friction. All right. Craig, why do you want to use AI?
Me?
Yeah?
For LinkedIn posts.
LinkedIn posts. Todd? Todd, I know your team wants to use AI. Why do they want to use AI?
They want to use AI to learn about our 80-year-old company.
That's a good reason. Like, you can take all of the content of your company, you can even plug these AI tools into your Google Drives, Microsoft Soft Drives, and it can learn all about your company. You can create a story about your company, the history of your company, the SOP, the handbook. Marcel's going to be talking a little bit later today about culture on your team. Maybe you don't know what the culture is of your team. Well, plug it in there. Say, this is what I know about this person, this is what I know about this person, this is what I know about, the last event that we hosted together, and plug it in and say, tell me about my team. What do you see based on the information that I've shared with you? So these are the reasons that EO Fort Worth might want to use AI. These are our core values, two of our core values. Thirst for learning, think big, be bold. Those are things that we hope to aspire to as EO Fort Worth. It's also things we aspire to within our businesses. Your core values within your business might be something similar to this. You might have something about innovation. You might have something about, continuing to learn. You might have something about engaging with the community. Whatever those core values are, that's why you should use AI. Lean into that with your AI. Train your AI that those are the things that you care about. And so the future really does belong to those who start preparing for it today. So your timing is perfect. Know that you can get started today and you are not behind the curve. And I can show you the tips and tricks on how to train your phone and all of that. We've got the conference rooms on the side over there. And so these are like 5-minute sessions. I can be like, okay, open this app, and do this. Very quick to get started on AI and, like I said, have those conversations. I do have some downloads. It's also scannable on your table, so you'll have it throughout today if you don't scan this right now. The download of the slide deck has the step-by-step instructions on my board and how to use it. Also, it'll take you to the link on my website. You can use my virtual board for free. Of course, it's going to call you Sheryle, and it's also going to think that you own a tech company. But you can play around with it, and you'll see how they have different personalities. Jordan's kind of like a young hipster, and like I said, Agnes is a Southern belle, and Data is a computer, like Star Trek Data. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you.